Hey guys, welcome back to EasyWezy. In this video, we will understand the mechanics of breathing. This is a part 1 video where we will be focusing upon respiratory movements, whereas in the part 2 and 3, we will go for more of respiratory pressures, compliance and other aspects. So without much delay, let's begin. So as we come to our topic, that is mechanics of respiration. What do you mean by the word respiration? Respiration is the process of gas exchange in the body. So basically, the gas exchange in the body is called respiration. There are 3 types: pulmonary ventilation, external respiration, internal respiration. What do you mean by the word pulmonary ventilation? It is literally breathing of air inside and outside between the environment and the alveoli is called the pulmonary ventilation. External respiration, it is exchange of gases between the alveoli and our blood. And when we go to internal respiration, it is exchange of gases between the blood in the systemic capillaries and tissue cells. So what you will remember, pulmonary is environment and alveoli. External is alveoli and blood. Internal is blood and tissues. Respiratory movements. Respiration occurs in 2 phases, namely inspiration and expiration. Inspiration is what? Inhalation. Expiration is what? Leaving the air out. So basically, inspiration is the active process, expiration is passive process. So during inspiration, thoracic cage enlarges and lung expands so that air enters into the lung. During expiration, the thoracic cage and the lung, it decreases in the size. So what will cause movement of our rib cage? What is happening here? The muscles. The muscles are contracting and causing movement of our thoracic cavity. So next we will go for the muscles of respiration. Respiratory muscles are of 2 types: inspiratory muscles and expiratory muscles. So inspiratory muscles are muscles which are involved in inspiration. Expiratory muscles are muscles involved in expiration. However, these are classified into primary respiratory muscles and accessory respiratory muscles. Primary means what? Main action. Primary respiratory muscles means which are mainly responsible for change in size of thoracic cage. Whereas accessory is they work only when there is forced respiration. When extra energy is needed, this respiratory muscles come in work. First we will go for primary inspiratory muscles. So first one is the diaphragm, which is supplied by the phrenic nerve, which is at the base of the thoracic cavity. So if this goes down, then area of thorax will increase. Primary is the diaphragm. The next are the external intercostal muscles supplied by the intercostal nerves. So if you know, if this is our rib 1 and this is our rib 2 and this is exterior part, this is our interior part. The muscles attaching this are the external intercostal muscles and the muscles attaching internal part are the internal intercostal muscles. So mainly external intercostal muscles help in contracting them and thus increasing the area inside, whereas inspiratory, when they contract, they reduce the space. Now we come to the accessory inspiratory muscles. These muscles which generally are not that much used, but when, for example, you are inhaling forcefully and exhaling forcefully, you need more power, right? So in such cases, these muscles are used. These are sternomastoid, sternocleidomastoid, scalene muscle, anterior serratii muscle, elevators of scapulae and pectoralis. We come to the primary expiratory muscle. The main one, as I told you initially, internal intercostal muscle. which is again supplied by our intercostal nerves. And the accessory expiratory muscle are our abdominal muscles. So basically, you understood primary inspiratory muscle, diaphragm and external intercostal. Accessory inspiratory muscle, primary expiratory muscles are internal intercostal and accessory are the abdominal. Hope this is clear for you. Now we come to the movements of thoracic cage. As we all know, inspiration causes enlargement of thoracic cage. Thoracic cage enlarges because of increase in all diameters. Now what are these diameters? Now consider a rib cage. Anterior side and posterior side. Correct. Antero-posterior means this distance. Now this is anterior, this is posterior. If you are considering this length, it is transverse. Vertical is the height. Okay. So if the thoracic cage has to expand, and all these diameters have to change. Change in size occurs because of movements of 4 unit structures. Thoracic lead, upper costal series, lower costal series and the diaphragm. Thoracic lead, it is formed by manubrium sterni. So manubrium sterni and the first pair of ribs, this forms our thoracic operculum. There is increase in the AP diameter. The upper costal series means what? Second to sixth rib. It increases the AP diameter and transverse diameter. Imagine first, second, third, fourth, fifth, like this till 6. If these diameters, there is external intercostal muscle is literally contracting. What happens if this is like this? It comes like this. It is contracting, means it's shortening. So it is coming up. So what is happening? AP diameter is increasing. With that, the transverse diameter also increases. Now we come to the lower costal, which is from 7th to 10th. Why we are not considering 11th and 12th? These are our floating ribs. So it increases transfer diameter, thus the buccal handle movement. Now diaphragm, it increases the vertical diameter via the thoracic cage. It is like a, as we all know, dome shaped. If it flattens, it will cause more vertical height. If it is forming the dome, the height is less. Lungs. During inspiration, due to enlargement of thoracic cage, negative pressure is increased in the thoracic cage. So when we come to these pressures and all, no, in our lung, negative pressure is very important. Without negative pressure, the lung can collapse. Collapsing tendency of lungs. Lungs are under constant threat to collapse. If inside the thoracic cavity, if there is no negative pressure, then the lungs will collapse. So what is causing this collapse? Now elastic property of the lung tissue. This elastic recoil. Correct? Now imagine the lungs are made of elastic tissue, kind of like a stretched rubber band. When we breathe in, the lungs stretch to fill the air. But just like a rubber band, it will snap back after being stretched. Correct? So the lungs naturally want to return to their smaller resting size. The inward pull is the elastic recoil. Understood? This inward pull is called the elastic recoil. It helps push air out during the exhalation, and it also contributes to the lungs' tendency to collapse if not opposed. Inside of our alveoli, that is the tiny air sacs, it is lined by a thin film of fluid. Now this fluid creates a surface tension, a force that tries to shrink the alveoli. It makes them collapse. Think of how water droplets stick together, that surface tension in action. If unopposed, this force would make the alveoli collapse. Now, factors preventing collapse, that is the intrapleural pressure. The word itself suggests it is the pressure of the pleural cavity. Correct? So as we all know, there are two pleuras, parietal and visceral pleura, and the cavity between them has a fluid. Correct? So this space has a slightly negative pressure. So it acts like a gentle suction. This suction pulls the lung outward and keeps it stuck together to the chest wall, which helps it from collapsing. Now we come to the surfactant. It is a substance secreted in the alveolar epithelium, correct? Now we know about the surface tension. It is caused by the fluid around the alveolar epithelium. Now the lungs make a special substance which is secreted, is called the surfactant. This reduces this surface tension. As we know, surface tension is present, that is reduced by the surfactant. This surfactant keeps the alveoli open, making it easier to breathe and preventing the lung collapse. So when we come to it actually, in movements of lungs, we know there is a negative pressure always. Factors causing collapse are elastic property and surface tension. Factors preventing collapse are intrapleural pressure and surfactant. So that was it for today. The pleural pressures and other pressure part will be dealt in the part 2. So that was about basics of respiratory movements, muscles involved. In next video we will meet with respiratory pressures and other things. And please don't forget to share, subscribe and hit the notification bell. So again one thing, if you want to find my lectures, you can go to our channel and in playlist you'll have a structured chapters. If you need notes to my videos, you can DM me or message me on Instagram. I will link it in the description box.